So, as of late, the Forspoken stuff has been getting somewhat funnier than most game launches. Generally, a lot of games when they launch, especially at the price that Forsaken launches at, you'd expect something to be of extremely good quality. You know, it's coming from Square Enix and stuff like that after all, so you would think that they'd put a lot more effort into it in terms of making it not look so funny. I Look, I get that in most video games, NPCs don't really get that much attention, you know. The idea behind it is to obviously make the world as detailed as you can, as lively as you can, but also to do so within a reasonable budget. So I can understand that, but faces being copied and pasted over a different model, it does look a little weird. So for me, I think personally, it looks funny, and especially on a PS5 game, this kind of graphics does look terrible, but then again, it looks like somebody took this with a cell phone. They took a picture off a screen instead of actually a screenshot. So I'll give that a pass over there. But here's where things get a little bit weird for me in particular. Now, I've been reading through this Kotaku article. I do this from time to time. It's very entertaining, to say the least. I mean, a lot of the times these guys are actually pretty funny. So when I've been going through this, I found something very interesting. It tells you about basic things like getting your performance focus mode, things like that. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but personally, no matter what game I play, I prefer to have nicer frame rates, and even if it doesn't look the best, you know, I don't want to have something that's running at like 4K and 20 frames per second. I'd rather have it run at like 1080p and 60 frames, if you know what I mean. It's basically the type of person I am. Even if you, like with Cyberpunk, for example, even if you have to choose between 1080p and 720p, I'd rather go with 720p just to get those extra frames out of it, you know, if you're forced into that kind of decision. So that's how I am basically, and I can understand that. I mean, this is a PS5 game. It's got performance mode and fidelity mode, so be it. Now comes time for the other settings that you get to change, you know. Automatic item gathering, cool, that's fine. Make items stand out a bit more. Under accessibility settings, you can do that. There's a way to make them flash a funny color. Make your parkour more seamless with semi-auto leap or soar. Personally, I don't think that's a good idea, but fine. You know, you want to make things a little bit easier for yourself, that's okay. Turn the music down a notch. Now, I've heard some of the music, I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. But then again, that's just that we all have different tastes in music. I mean, I like things from all kinds of genres: rock, dance, pop. I even like jazz as well. So, you know, not everything's for everybody. I can understand that. You know, so soundtrack aside, that's fine. Generally, what I normally do is in most games is I always turn the soundtrack down, especially in games like this, open world titles and stuff. I like to hear the ambient noises. I like to hear if an enemy is sneaking up on me, that kind of stuff. So that's just the way how I am. I do it in The Witcher. I'm gonna do it over here. Now, make it easy to dodge attacks with enhanced attack hint displays. Look, I'm being honest with you. With any game that you play, if you're gonna go for the easy mode the first time around, that's fine. Especially over here at the bottom, it's got ease up on a bit of the difficulty settings. I'm going to be honest with you. With any game that you play, try to play it on normal mode at first. And if you find that you are incapable of going through that, then go for the other modes, easy mode or I'm here for story or whatever it is. Obviously, if you're playing in a rush, you don't have much time, you want to get to the end of it, and you're there primarily for the story, then by all means go ahead and play for the story. But I don't think that you should be lowering the difficulty in many games that you play. Normal mode is a good way to play. It's perfectly balanced in a lot of cases. You get the most out of your game that way, and especially if you don't plan on playing the game ever again. You know, obviously if you're a completionist, you'll go through all the difficulties. If you're playing for story, then you choose the easiest difficulty. But if you want some balanced gameplay and, you know, once you're done with this game, you're putting it down for good, then stick to normal. Now, choose from low and minimal for voice chatter. This is the one where basically turn down the music one. Okay, fine. Now you got to turn down the voice chatter. Effectively, that's like saying the game needs to shut up. In fact, let's read this article. Geoff Keighley is gonna have to invent a new OMG, please shut up award for this game, because wow, this game doesn't know when to zip it. Thankfully, you can cut down on the chat to a more manageable level. Oddly, you can also increase the chat frequency. If this option appeals to you, I'm just going to say that there are other ways to ask for help in life. So, effectively, with the cuff settings and stuff, and the cuff's personalities and stuff like that, the cuff has ability to speak through the PlayStation 5 controller, from what I understand. And this can get pretty frequent and pretty annoying. So, effectively, the best way to enjoy this game is if you actually just basically get that thing to shut up, and to lower the music in the game, and to lower the difficulty. So effectively meaning that you would basically silence the game, or not really silence the game, but kind of cut out more of the audio that was already in the game, and then lower the actual experience, or minimize the actual gameplay experience in order to enjoy it. That kind of sucks for a game. I can see why so many people actually hate this thing. And there are some other things I've been finding that are pretty interesting. I mean, given that this is my first video on it, I wanted to look at all the kind of things that were surrounding it, and I just wanted to point out what I found to be interesting. And one of them was this. Now, I can't seem to find it in 1080p or higher. I don't know where to get another clip like this from, so 720p will have to do for now, and it's not the best, unfortunately. But just at a glance, I'm being honest with you guys, I found it hard to believe that Assassin's Creed Unity came out almost like 9 years ago, and Forspoken came out now. Like, I'd say like this game is probably like a year behind Forspoken, or maybe 2 years behind Forspoken. I remember playing Unity back in the day and being blown away by how amazing the graphics were. And now I'm looking at Forspoken on the other side, and it doesn't look that impressive. It could be that this game was perhaps made on a budget, or perhaps it was originally a PS4 game ported over to PS5. I doubt that. I highly doubt that. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I like Assassin's Creed Unity better. But then again, at the same time, these games aren't being compared in the same setting. Like in this shot, it's a closed off, got a wall over here. It's not exactly a crowd over here. On this side, it's a very well open space. You got some light bleeding through. It's got these nice buildings with the floor, and you got those characters in the background. So everything kind of blends together nicely, giving you a slightly better scene. You know. Then from there, I also go to opencritic.com. I like to use this site whenever I look at stuff. You know, it's just the site that I normally go to for my video game reviews. Not that I rely on these things much. My honest opinion about any video game is, no matter what people tell you, play it for yourself and experience it for yourself before you decide whether it's good or bad. You know, somebody can tell you it's a 10 out of 10 game, but it's just not for you. Burnout's not for everybody. Need for Speed's not for everybody. Call of Duty's not for everybody. You know, sometimes you'll say it's a good game. Like, I'm not a FIFA fan. If you were to ask me to give FIFA a rating out of 10, I'll always give it a 5, because to me it's the same thing. On the other hand, a hardcore FIFA fan will say it's a 10 out of 10. Now, as far as this type of world, these open world games go, especially from a company like Square Enix, you'd expect something of high quality, you know, something like along the lines of Final Fantasy 15 or 16 or whatever it is. But in this case, when I look at the reviews and, well, in terms of the scoring system, in the OpenCritic rating, it comes up as fair. The top critic average is 69. Lucky number 69, I guess. And 27% of the critics recommend this. Now, there's 65 reviews in total. Let's look at some of these numbers over here. IGN, 6 out of 10. Eurogamer, no recommendation. What? Okay. Hobby Consolas, I never heard of this one. It's 80 out of 10. The name sounds familiar, but I don't think I hear about them quite a lot. Destructoid, 7 out of 10. I want to be honest with you, if a AAA game gets a 7 out of 10, effectively that's just an average game. That's like the average scoring for most games nowadays. GameSpot, 5 out of 10. Okay, middle. Wow, Game Informer, slightly above average. Easy Allies, 8 out of 10. Games Radar, basically 5 out of 10. 2.5 out of 5. If I'm being honest with you, that's a pretty bad rating for a new franchise that is an exclusive to the PlayStation 5 and PC. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea for companies to be putting out this quality of work. I don't care what the protagonist looks like. I don't care generally what gender they are. That doesn't faze me. What does faze me though is the overall quality of the game and things that are interesting and things that are good inside of a game, things that make it fun and enjoyable, things that can draw you into the game's world and make you want to stay there until you've obviously platinumed it or just 100%ed the entire game. But as far as this Forspoken goes, it doesn't look like it's gonna survive very long. It's probably gonna need a couple of patches, and the amount of features that you got to change to enjoy the game, that kind of sucks. You know, by default, I think that with most games, when you fire it up, there shouldn't be this amount of work going into it just for you to have an enjoyable experience. I think you need to be able to do that by default. Obviously, there are some quality of life improvements, but it shouldn't come in as a recommendation or a list of recommendations for you to, well, get an average experience of, in some cases, 5 out of 10. That kind of sucks. Well guys, with that being said, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, do subscribe, leave a like, comment down below what do you think. For those of you who have played the game, what's your honest opinion about it? Is it really that bad? Is it good? Will you consider platinuming it? Would you like to finish it 100%? You know, let me know in the comment section down below. And I hope to see you in the next video. Till next time, have a good day everyone. Bye.